So I just gave birth to a son I didn't know I was pregnant with. Let's keep going. Before we do, there seems to be a few people. I just delete the comments when someone's negative because this is my page and I don't need to see your shit. But there was one person who said, BS, I've been a labor and delivery nurse for 25 years and we see people immediately. I'm going to provide some receipts for you guys from my MyChart because I don't know why people think this is something that gets lied about. I mean, obviously I'm not naive, I know people lie, but I'm just going to post some receipts. First picture should show you it was 11:30 at night when they took the EKG. The next time I was seen was 6:30 in the morning. They didn't do an ultrasound or a abdominal exam until 6:30 in the morning. This is the in order of when I got seen test results wise. The scanned lab report was also a written form that said I had prolonged ruptured membranes and the Corias something infection. And if you want more proof, keep asking because I have it all in my MyChart. It's all there in black and white. Okay, now that we got that out of the way. The other question I keep getting is, have you contacted a lawyer? Yes, several. I get a lot of rejections, mostly them saying it's not that you don't have a case, it's just not worth our time and resources. That doesn't mean I'm giving up. There's actually been some really nice people on here who have been helping me meet with other types of lawyers. So thank you guys. After he was born, I remember telling a nurse about how I knew I couldn't be a mom and that I was going to need to put him up for adoption. At this point in time, I didn't know how sick he was. So my only thought was I wanted to get him taken care of and I needed the hospital to know that I could not be his mother. It doesn't mean I didn't care and I wasn't in excruciating agony over what was going on, but I needed it to be very clear that I was not going to be his permanent guardian. So I didn't see him after he was born. They had to take him away pretty quickly. And I think adrenaline-wise, my body kind of gave up after that. I don't remember how I got up into my labor and delivery room when I did get upstairs. I more remember waking up at night. I was on a magnesium drip, and the nurses told me that I pretty much slept the entire day. And this really was when the adrenaline started to come down, and I started to sit with what just happened. And one of the first things I did was I was incredibly apologetic. After giving birth, I wasn't wearing underwear, and I would have to go to the bathroom, and I would have accidents. I was leaking. And after how I got treated downstairs, I remember just crying to the nurses and apologizing because there would be a mess on the floor. And one of the nurses finally said, like, honey, this is not a big deal. We're used to this. You just gave birth. And I told her what the lady did downstairs, and that kicked off a series of, I'm sorry, what happened to you? And they started to explain to me, especially some of these nurses, that if they were around and if labor and delivery was there, they would have recognized the smell. They wouldn't have shamed me for it. They would have recognized that something was severely wrong. And they would have been able to jump into action a lot sooner than anyone else. I do not have an answer for why they left me alone for as long as they did. I came in by ambulance. I was telling them it was abdominal pain. I'm screaming in an ER for hours and I was ignored. They came and told me that I was going to need surgery, and the first day I just couldn't do it. They needed to repair the fact that I tore. He was 8 pounds and 9 ounces. He was a big boy. I said I just needed a day. I needed a day with my autonomy. After everything that happened, I just needed to feel like I had some form of control. And I asked a couple times, but I was still pretty out of it, but nobody really had any information on my son yet. So the next afternoon, I had my surgery. Still hadn't heard anything about my son. They moved me to an oxygen, like a room where they pay attention to it because I wasn't doing good after surgery. When I woke up, I was having some issues after the anesthesia, so they needed to monitor my oxygen. That's when I met the doctor who came into the room, and very somberly, I could tell just from the way he was acting that something wasn't going to be good. And that's when he started to tell me that my son was failing. He hadn't got enough oxygen. They think he swallowed some of the fluid from the infection. So here I am grappling with the fact that I just had this baby that I didn't know I was going to have, and now they're turning around and telling me that he is dying. And I'm honestly not sure how much more I can take at this point.